The Redcast Podcast.
It is the Redcast Podcast. It is me, Matty and I'm joined today by Ste after a win. Seems like every time we have you on now, Ste, we've won, so good omen.
Well, what can I say? What can I say? You're missing me too much. The Reds are missing me too much. Like, I'm like the Virgil van Dijk of the podcast. I'm well, darling.
What do you think of starting off watching the game then? Like Liverpool actually getting a win?
It was fantastic, to be honest with you. After the first 60 minutes, I thought it was just gonna be another one of them, and because the chances we created, we just couldn't seem to find the net, and I started to get a bit of a cob on, to be honest with you, after 55, 60 minutes, and we still hadn't scored, and then I had to rein myself in. I was like, look, a 0-0 will get us through.
Yeah.
But then I thought, nah, we need to get some goals because we need to get some momentum going.
Yeah, definitely. It was like I in one of my group chats, we were all sat there saying like, "What's Mane and Salah done in this game? They should probably come off." And then they both. But a few positives out of it was Fabinho back in the six, wasn't it? Like how much differently Thiago especially benefited from that massively, didn't he?
Yeah, putting Fabinho in that number 6 role, it just unlocks everyone in front of him to do what they do best. Like you seen it for the last? How long did he come on for in the previous game? Fabinho in the midfield, was it?
Yeah, he come on against Fulham, didn't he? And as well as on I think it was on like the 60th or 70th minute, something like that.
Yeah, and you see the effect he has on the players around him, and you just can't buy that.
He's the best. Klopp said it, didn't he, after the game? He's the best central defensive midfielder in world football, and it's crazy to think that the best central defensive midfielder in world football has played centre back for the majority of the season. But if any in that game, give me a little glimpse of just how good Liverpool could be next year. I'm pretty much right in the league. I mean, it's still mathematically possible that we can win the Premier League this year.
Yeah, come on. Mathematically, yeah. It's probably mathematically still possible we can get relegated as well if you want to look at it that way.
But we weren't allowed the title last year because it was still mathematically possible. He was 20 odd points behind us. So I'm clutching at straws, Steve. I'm clutching at straws about it. But it's, for me, that game, I think we'll win the Champions League this year. And then I think next year we will piss the league again. I really do. And you look at that lineup and you look just how good Thiago Alcantara was in that game. Like, unbelievably good. Easily hands down his best performance in a red shirt. And that, for me, was all down to Fabinho being holding, because then Thiago then knows I don't need to do no holding and no defensive really in this game. I can just go gung-go in the attack and be creative. I mean, he attempted a bicycle kick.
I know.
Have you ever seen Thiago do that?
No, you don't. You just don't see it. He allows Thiago to be Thiago. He allows, I mean, even Gini Wijnaldum, he allows Gini Wijnaldum to be Gini Wijnaldum and not have to be that defensive midfielder as well as trying to be who you are. So it frees them to do ultimately what they do best and what we need from them. And then it then allows the 3 in front of them to it gives them the confidence, where I think in the past they haven't had that confidence to maybe be a bit show off, or I don't know what the right word for it, but to try and do what they do best, because in the past I think they've been a bit scared too, for fear of, well, if we lose it, there's a good chance they're going to take the ball down the other end. And with Fabinho there, they've got that confidence that it probably won't happen.
I know, it injected confidence into fans as well. Like Twitter, it went into meltdown, didn't it, when it was announced that he was going to be number 6. But looking at the stats, a 2-0 win isn't. I think it's harsh on Leipzig, like 4-0 over the 2 legs, because when you look at the stats, they had 60% of the possession like, I know technically we was the home team, but we were still in Budapest. But they dominated us on the ball, realistically, didn't they? And I mean, the first leg was down to 2 individual mistakes. That we scored 2 goals, nothing in corner was terrible. Now, I would say that this leg was down. The first goal was down to an individual mistake. Well, not individual, a whole defensive line mistake, because it's almost as though they just stopped and went to Salah. Go on, score if you want.
Yeah, I think the build up to that goal from our point of view was amazing. We won the ball in our own half, and it was a great team goal. And yeah, they stood off Salah, which is, fatal ultimately for them. For anyone who wants to stand off Salah, he's going to punish you. But it was a great finish. The placement, like, right in the corner, Galaxy didn't move. I mean, maybe he's expecting his defence to do a little bit more, which you would. But Salah's done his job.
Do you think that they were stood off him in a sense of they thought, oh, he's just going to try and kill this in the top corner and Galaxy will have it covered, like Salah usually does? Because I can't remember a time Salah's been in that position and not tried to bend him into the top corner. It's
such a Salah thing to do, isn't it? That's his thing, and I think he's tried it earlier on in the game as well and skied it, hasn't he? That is, when you see a Salah goal, that's a typical Salah goal. He cuts it off the left, bends it in the far top corner, and he's fooled them all with that one, hasn't he?
Yeah, completely and utterly fooled them. I mean, I was made up because not so much for Salah, because I'm made up we won, but I'm more made up that Mane got a goal, because in recent weeks, he has been so poor. And I think he doesn't get spoken about how poor he's been, because Bobby Firmino has ultimately probably been worse. But for me, Mane's been really poor this season. Like, I can't remember the last time. I mean, Mane tries. He does try. Like that Tottenham game, he was really trying and things just weren't coming off for him. But you think back to that Fulham game, and I think the ball crossed into him and he tried to header it down when in truth he could have controlled it and volleyed it and it probably would have went in. And that you could see on some attempts from Mane in recent weeks that he's just not got the confidence. So I'm hoping that goal gives him the world of confidence, because ultimately we need confident players now, don't we, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, there was one actually in that Leipzig game where Salah broke free. It was that was that pass from Thiago that set Salah free, where he jumped and done this scissor kick pass that I can't even describe it. Like, it was unbelievable. You wouldn't expect anyone to do, and he played Salah through. Salah put the shot away and Galaxy saved it, but it come back out to Mane, and what Mane did was inexplicable. He had, like, the ball come to him, and he basically headed it at his own feet. Like, like, how is that? How is that even possible, what he's done there? But as I say, second half, with that goal, he made up for it. And big up Divock Origi for that assist.
Divock Origi and the Champions League are just a different kettle of fish, aren't they? Like, this is the Divock Origi last week thought he was still training at Melwood.
He's the guy's an enigma, isn't he? Like,
I mean, about it. Usually when Origi comes on, it's ultimately, a lot of fans would say game over. Not for in terms of we'd lose the game. It's more as though Klopp knows the game's done and he's just trying to see it out. So when he came on, you thought, oh, is he just playing for the 0-0? I mean, I was happy. If that would have been a 0-0 draw, I wouldn't have cared. We still would have been in the last stage of the Champions League. And then he comes on and ends up getting an assist. Like, he's been awful. He couldn't even finish his dinner. He was on one goal. And then he comes on and bangs assistant.
He was lively, wasn't he? He created a few little bits. He had a shot that went wide, like, but he looked like he was trying, which is unusual for that man.
I know, he never tries, does he? I mean, when we look at the stats, we had 12 shots, 7 on target, which is good for Liverpool in recent weeks, really. We haven't been getting as many shots on target as many would like. We only had 4 off target and 1 saved by Galaxy. But the one for me was our passes. We only made 436 passes all game, but 330 of them were accurate. So we had the 72% pass succession rate. But for me, every single one of them 313 passes we looked threatening, I think is the word I'm looking for. Like, we looked as though we were actually going to do something every time we made
there wasn't a lot of needlessly safe play, was there? Where you would think in a game like that, where we just once you get that first half out the way, that second half you just need to see it out, and you would expect them to just knock it about, sideways passes, backwards passes. You'd expect a lot of that. But I don't remember seeing particularly them doing that overly.
I just want to have a little mention for Nat Phillips. I think it feels like a few podcasts ago, it was about a month ago now, when me, you and Jay was on, and he went in on Nat Phillips, saying just how bad he was, saying about his passing and stuff like that. And at the time, he's not like he just slagged him off the sake. At the time, Rhys Williams was performing better than him.
Yeah.
But Nat Phillips for me now is like a modern day Jamie Carragher, in a sense of he's not the best footballer, but he puts his heart into the game, which ultimately overshadows his footballing ability. If you think back to Jamie Carragher, he wasn't unbelievable at football, but he had the heart and the fight, and he put his body on the line, and winning that game of football meant more to him than anything. Like, you think in Istanbul, he was cramping up and was still throwing tackles in extra time and stuff. And Nat Phillips just reminds me a bit like that. Like, he's an old school footballer, and I like it, I proper like the old school in him. Like, in his stats on this game, he just doesn't get beat. He got beat out of his aerial duels. He had 8 aerial duels and won 6 of them. So for me, for a kid coming into his debut in the Champions League and winning 6 out of 8 aerial duels, won 5 out of 8 ground duels, had 70% pass succession. He had 7 long balls that were accurate. And I was just thinking back to when Jay said he tried to play the long ball, and he tried.
Yeah.
But he completed 7 of them in this game. And do you know what? I am quite content with Phillips and Kabak for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. On top of the fact that they're both doing well there, if that releases Fabinho into that midfield, I am all about that. Like,
yeah,
get a good partnership, whether they're experienced or whether they're young lads or whatever. Get a good partnership of 2 actual centre backs who can do a job there. I've got all the time in the world for that, because that puts Fabinho in the midfield. Nat Phillips, you were comparing him to Jamie Carragher there. I'd put him more along the lines of Sammy Hyypiä, to be honest. Big, strong defender. Doesn't need all the pace in the world.
Don't you think that's been a bit kind? Sammy Hyypiä was well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying he's as good a footballer as Sammy Hyypiä was. What I'm saying is he's more that type of defender, where he will win the aerial duels, and he doesn't need to be really pacey because he reads the game quite well. Let's have it right. He's never going to be Sammy Hyypiä in a million years. But he's that type of no nonsense defender, and he sticks to what he does best, and he doesn't try to do what he can't do.
I just want to speak about Ozan Kabak as well. Now, seen a few. Jamie Carragher slagged them off massively. I think it must be after the Chelsea game, and we'll get on to Jamie Carragher in a minute. But looking at Kabak, Ozan Kabak doesn't get beat in the air ever. Just doesn't happen. He was in the top 5 for aerial duels won in the Bundesliga. Now we know the Bundesliga is full of massive players. You got the likes like Lewandowski, Haaland, and stuff, and he was in the top 5 aerial duels won there. He actually made 27 accurate passes, Kabak, which was 77%. He didn't lose an aerial duel for the whole game. He done 9 long balls, and you know what? His long balls are actually looking quite decent. Like, he does try and split the defense open and that with them. The thing he's obviously not the best at is ground duels, because he had 4 and only won half of them. Is he a player who you think we should maybe look at keeping? At the end, I'm not too sure. I've seen people saying oh, the loan's an obligation to buy. I've seen people saying the loan's an option to buy. So if it is an option and we can send them back, would you, or would you keep them?
I think it's too early to say. At the moment, I would probably say send them back, which might sound a bit harsh. But if you look at what we're going to have in front of him next season, I think it won't do him any good, and it won't do the club any good to have him there. I think he'd be wasted. He hasn't done. He's done okay. Don't get me wrong. He's done all right, but I don't think he's done. He hasn't really been spectacular. Whether you want that from a defender, I don't know. But at the moment, I don't think he's done quite enough to cement a place first team, which is what you want.
With Kabak, I'm only thinking about keeping hold of him because you think of like Gomez might not come back now. The ACL injuries, look at the Ox from 18-19 to now. He's a shadow of that player. I mean, I dare say it because Van Dijk's out with an ACL. But I think that man's a machine, so he'll come back sound anyway. But Gomez has snapped a tendon behind that, which is a well bigger injury. It's a massive, massive injury to the point that he maybe never might play in the Premier League again. Now, that's worst case scenario, but I suppose if you expect the worst, anything best, then that's a bonus. But for me, I don't want another situation like this season where if Gomez is out for a few months or Van Dijk picks a knock up, you're left playing kids again. So I think getting Kabak as the third choice. He's young. He's going to improve. His idol's Van Dijk, so he's going to improve under Van Dijk's leadership anyway. Yeah. And for me, I'd probably sell Joel Matip instead and keep Kabak because although when Joel Matip's fit, he's arguably one of the best centre-halves in world football. It's when he's fit, isn't it?
That's the problem. I was going to get on to that as well. So if we do keep Kabak, I think that will be the end for Joel Matip. If you look at next season, I would include Joe Gomez in next season, being optimistic. So you've got Van Dijk, Gomez, Kabak, Phillips, and Williams. They both have had a bit of experience now, Phillips and Williams, so you wouldn't have that major concern that we had at the beginning of this season over them. We played a few games, they've done all right. So I think them five should do it. But again, that depends on Joe Gomez a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively. I mean, one player we forget is Ben Davies. He's a Liverpool.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't understand it, to be honest with you, because for me, Ben Davies could have played the Fulham game, in my opinion, because he would have played against Fulham twice last year when he was at Preston. Fulham are a championship level football club. So it would have been the perfect game. Or Sheffield United, it would have been the perfect game to throw him in. And we didn't even make the bench at Fulham, which makes you think, was he injured? Sheffield United didn't make the bench, and there was rumours he had a knock. But then, if he was injured for Fulham, he was on the bench against Leipzig. So whatever the knock was, it can't have been that bad to the point that he couldn't have played. And I'm not having that he was on the bench and he still couldn't have played on Wednesday, because if you're on the bench, you're fit enough to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't be putting injured players on the bench. You would rather put a kid who's never played the game before on the bench than an injured player, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You can't afford to have someone. You'd rather have a blank space on their substitute bench, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a kid on there I've never heard of before, Harvey Davis, on our bench against them.
Yeah,
I've never heard of him. I don't even know what position he plays, and it's more frustrating for him. He's a goalkeeper, but why have we got two goalkeepers? This is my frustration at the minute. Why have we got two goalkeepers on the bench when we've got like Sir Leighton Clarkson and Jake Kane absolutely bossing it for the under-23s? Yeah. Now, I know the jump from the under-23s to the Champions League is massive, but I'd rather have an attacker on the bench who you could maybe give a chance to. Because if we were coasting that game 4-0, I would have liked to have seen kids come on, give them a little bit of a Champions League run out. So, I mean, we threw Reece Williams and Nat Phillips in to a Champions League game, so why couldn't we throw like an attacker like Jake Kane or Leighton Clarkson in? And they haven't really made the bench this year. I mean, Clarkson's made it more times than Jake Kane. But Clarkson's bossing it, absolutely bossing it. I mean, he's got numbers like similar to Rashford had in the under 23s at the minute, and it's one of them. Like, you've got to give the kids a chance, haven't you? Like, I'd even throw some of the kids in the Premier League this year because the league's done, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the league, you can't. Top four's gone. Title, I don't know what you were chatting before, but the title's gone. I think I would probably. Do you know what? I'm torn on this. I don't know whether I'd rather finish even outside the Europa League places. Just concentrate on the Champions League and just swerve the league completely.
Well, you finish for all the league now. There's the UEFA Conference League below that.
Oh, come on. They're just making stuff up now. Honestly, leave us alone, just.
I don't know what positions this one goes down to, but there's the Conference League and games are in like Kazakhstan and Albania, stuff like that.
No, I don't want that.
European football. I mean, maybe Jurgen's decided, like, being to Europa League final, being the Champions League final, I want to win the Conference League now, and that's why we're playing so bad. Could be.
I don't even think teams like Sheffield United will want to touch that league with a barge. To be honest with you, it sounds like absolute nonsense.
Sorry, before we off. You don't want to be playing these teams that you can't even pronounce every Thursday night in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather finish 10th and win the Champions League.
I think we'll win the Champions League, honestly. Like, when was the last time Messi and Ronaldo wasn't in the quarterfinals, Steve?
That was 2005.
Wait, that final was in Istanbul.
Yes, there's a lot of comparisons from that year. I don't know whether I sent you did I send you that picture of all the different things that happened in 2005?
No. I've you myself, like Messi and Ronaldo not being in there, the fact the finals in Istanbul. What else was there? There's a few other things.
We beat a German team in the last 16.
Yeah.
There's loads.
I'm massively confident. I think this Liverpool side's built for Europe. It always has been built for Europe. We're a different monster in Europe. And I still strongly believe we would have won the Champions League last year if it wasn't for Adrian in goal against Atletico Madrid. Because that defeat was down to him. Liverpool, the 10 players in front of him, really tried. And there was a point where we were actually going through. And then Adrian decided to be Adrian. So,
yeah.
I do strongly believe we would have won the Champions League last year, or went as far as the semis, maybe the final. So this year, when you've already got Messi and Ronaldo out of it, I mean, yeah, Mbappe and Haaland are still in it, but Dortmund can't defend. Yeah, they've got Sancho and Haaland going forward, and even Bellingham to an extent. He's been decent this season, but they can't defend. Dortmund are pretty much in the same position as Liverpool this year. Like, they're struggling to get into the Champions League places in Germany, but they're a lot more further off getting into it, I think, than Liverpool are getting into our Champions League places. And Dortmund ultimately have to win the Champions League as well, in my opinion, to keep Champions League football, to keep hold of players like that. But Dortmund always have that cycle where they have a boss team for a few years, and then they get to the end of that cycle, they all get sold, and then they get a new team again. So I don't think
like Ajax, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar to Ajax. Like, they're very good with younger players. But I think because Dortmund can't... I honestly believe any German side that Liverpool Football Club face in this Champions League, we've got their number. Think back to Bayern Munich. Remember when they were a Finnish team, when Liverpool beat them, and they were all past it, and then they went and battered Tottenham the year after, and then they won the Champions League as well. Liverpool against German teams, I don't think we get beat. I think Jurgen knows German football better than anyone, and he knows how to play against German teams.
I would rather play Bayern Munich or Dortmund. In fact, I'll go as far as to say the one team I don't want in that next round is Porto. Like, I've said this since I watched them beat Juventus. They are a horrible team. Horrible team. It'd be like playing West Brom under Sam Allardyce, and that's been our issue this season. They were set up as a when he didn't have the ball, 6-3-1 formation against Juventus. Like then they got a man sent off, and it was just a 6-3 formation. It was like playing for Juventus, like playing against a brick wall. They were horrible. They were going through on. I think they were going through on away goals or whatever with about 3 minutes to go, and about 7 of them went down with cramp. And I'm like, I just hate playing against these. They got Pepe in there. I just don't want to play against them. I'll take anyone else.
Did you see Marco Grujic get snapped, fall down?
Yeah.
I think we beat Porto, to be honest. I don't think we get them, though, because I think UEFA know that all Liverpool seems to do is get Porto. I think, honestly, Man City get Porto. It's the easiest tie left in it, really, isn't it?
Maybe on paper, but I don't know, for anyone else who watched that Porto Juventus game, like they were exactly what we can't beat this season. That's what they were. They weren't great footballing team, but they were just that horrible just break up the game, get in your way. I don't think we beat them if we get them.
Do you know what? I don't fear anyone. No one. People have said the biggest threat in the Champions League for me are City and PSG. Now, not because of the teams, more because they're soulless clubs. So they just run off money from the oil companies, and they don't really need fans, to be honest. Like PSG, yeah, they've got a good following. They haven't got nowhere near the best fan base in European football. Manchester City could argue after even got a fan base, because they are.
Gallagher, that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've seen City when fans were allowed in. They had influencer jobs on job websites where they'd pay you to come and film your time at the game and put it on YouTube. So
wow,
yeah. So to me, like, if you need to pay people to come and support you, then it says it all. Like, money can buy you a lot of things, but it can't buy you the passion. And obviously, that's my worry, is about there being no fans. Like, if we were to have a bad first leg, and then we had to come back to Anfield this year, I don't know what's happened to it. But I just think there's a very good. Loads of people saying Van Dijk's out for the season now. For me, why on earth would you include him in the squad if he's got no chance of playing this season? And he's out on the grass, he's running on the grass. I think Van Dijk's back a lot sooner than people think. But Jurgen Klopp doesn't want to come out and say, "Oh yeah, Van Dijk's going to be back on the 1st of March." Oh no, that's already been March, hasn't it? 1st of April, and then he doesn't come back, and all the fans go into uproar like, "Where is he? You said he was back. Has he had another knock?" and all that. Because look at Thiago, they come out and said, "Oh, it wasn't that bad," and then because it was bad, there was fans who were in uproar because he weren't playing as much as he should have been. So I think with Van Dijk, it's in a similar situation, and I do believe he'll be back probably for the second leg of the quarters, maybe the first leg of the semis. Now, one team I'd say I wouldn't really like to get is Atalanta. But then, would that be played in a neutral venue? Because Italy's quite strict on the COVID, isn't it?
I think that it all depends on all the restrictions in each country at that time, because everything's changing at the moment, isn't it? We don't even know where we're going to be as a country. So
you're seeing Leipzig have got to pay us compensation for making our home leg be in Budapest, because we could have had them. We could have hosted them, but they couldn't come.
All right, okay.
So they've got to pay compensation. Do you know who I really, really want down the quarters? Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, no game's going to be easy in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, is it? So,
but did you see that against Atalanta? No. They had 5 subs. They couldn't put 9 subs on there, and the 5 of them they had were kids. They're in disarray, like Barcelona, really. Like, Atletico Madrid are buzzing off this COVID situation. They went and bought Suarez, and they're going to win the league, in my opinion. But Real Madrid are struggling for injuries. Gareth Bale walked into that Real Madrid team. I still to this day can't understand why they let him go out on loan to Tottenham.
That's a personal issue. That's not to do with football.
It's Zidane, innit, really? Like, Zidane and Bale. But I really want them. And I really, really, really want Van Dijk to be fit. And I really, really want there to be a corner where Van Dijk elbows Ramos square in the nose.
Oh, no. VAR will send them off.
Do you know what? Speaking of VAR, what is the difference with European VAR to Premier League VAR? Now, this week in the Champions League, there was one game that had VAR controversy, which was the PSG Barcelona game. Who was the officials?
I didn't even know there was an issue in that game. I didn't watch it. Was it the English?
Yeah, it was English officials, English on VAR, and there was a penalty controversy. Like, they think that they gave a pen and there shouldn't have been a pen, or they didn't give a pen, that should have been a pen. There was something around the penalty. Now, look at that Mané goal in our game. It was touch and go, whether it was offside. 30 seconds later, it was on. We were told, like, it was like, yeah, that goal's confirmed. Then when they show you the replay, they just show you the line dead quick and it says onside. Like, why can't it be?
I think the thing with that Mané goal is he's actually behind the ball, I think, when it's played. So where he is in line with the defender, it makes no difference because he's behind where the ball's played from.
When across the two legs, anything that you thought, oh, this might go to VAR, was done within a few seconds. Now, a player goes down in the Premier League, it takes them 5 minutes to decide whether it's a foul or not.
Yeah,
it's funky lines just to make people offside and stuff. And then it goes to show, in the last World Cup, there wasn't a single English official in the World Cup. I don't think there was in the Euros either. I think the last,
right, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the last English official to go to the World Cup might have been Howard Webb, potentially. As much as we hated him, he was a good referee. He didn't really get things wrong, and I know Fergie had him on his payroll, but that was just against us. The other 36 games of the season, he was decent. But that PSG game, like, the minute you see there was a bit of controversy, you're like, oh, that's unusual in the Champions League. And then you see it was Anthony Taylor as the referee, and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that explains it, like, yeah.
It's ridiculous how bad our referees are. But I mean, there's been a review into VAR, hasn't there, this week? Premier League clubs have started.
They've sent out questionnaires or surveys or whatever to all the Premier League clubs around VAR. I'm expecting, at least 18 of the clubs to wipe their backsides on the survey and send it back and say you can shove it, to be honest, because it's been awful.
It's hard because it's all based on personal opinions again, like it was with the 5 substitutions. But then you look at a team like, say Sheffield United. Now, they're going to go down this year, and Aston Villa are absolutely flying. But Aston Villa shouldn't be in the Premier League.
Yeah, that ghost goal or whatever it was, it's the issue I've got with VAR is it was supposed to stop any sort of personal opinions getting in the way. It was supposed to be absolute facts, like, yeah, you're onside, yeah, you're offside, yeah, it was over the line, no, it wasn't over the line, whatever. But it's even worse. Like, I don't get what it's done. It's supposed to improve the game, and for me, it just hasn't.
VAR as a technology is good. It's really good. You see it used in Australian football. You see it used in cricket. You see it used in the Champions League. So as an actual technology, it's really good. Now, this will move me on to Jamie Carragher thing. He said on CBS in the Champions League how good VAR was, but it's basically the clowns that are controlling it. Now, I've seen so many lines this season, Drew, not just in Liverpool games, in other games. There's been so many bizarre offside calls where they're drawing a line, and to me, the line doesn't even look straight. Now, you could argue it's the way the camera angle is in the stadium, and if it was level, that line would be level and it would be offside. But then why aren't they showing us that camera angle? There's enough camera angles around the football pitch these days to have one that's level with the players, to have one that's level with the linesmen. But they're doing it from up here, and they're drawing all these wonky lines. Like you look at the Mané goal, the against Everton, the line was like that.
Yeah.
If it was like that, it would have been.
That was quite clearly not straight. There was one the other week, I think we talked about when Firmino's big toe was adjudged to have been offside. Was it against Leicester, maybe? And when they've analysed it, it was the shadow of his foot that was offside.
Yeah, they said that goal that they scored in a free kick, the Madison one. He played that defender on side with his shadow. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But speaking of Jamie Carragher, what's your thoughts on him at the minute? Because I don't think there's many people in the Liverpool fan base, especially on social media, that really like him at the minute.
No, he's it's quite disappointing. Like, I was talking about this with Ashley the other night, saying if he, like, we all know he was a Blue growing up. We all know he was a big Everton fan as a kid. You want to be an Everton fan, mate? Just be an Everton fan. We'll just, so's about you, like, but we'll respect you for it and stick to your guns, and don't pretend to be a Liverpool fan, or don't pretend to be a Liverpool fan and then be like a little Sky puppet and say what they want you to say, and then when you're on another channel, say the opposite. He needs to just pick a place and stick to it, and then I think we'll have a bit more respect for him.
Yeah, like that CBS one. There's a video of him going to like Micah Richards. We're going to Istanbul, and he's saying something to Micah Richards. Oh, I don't know, you've never played in one, or all stuff like this. And for me, I seen a tweet saying like that they weren't happy with it, and I agree. Like, he was calling Liverpool mentality midgets against Fulham the other day. He was saying, I've played in Liverpool teams that are bad, but none this bad. I'm sorry, Jamie, but you didn't win the Premier League. So this side might be bad at the minute, but they're nowhere near as bad as some of the sides that you played in. You played in sides with Bishkan, Traore, played in sides with Konchesky, Danny Wilson, our summer signings, which Konchesky, Danny Wilson, and Joe Cole. We had Kiriakos. Ivanovic. Plays like Andy Carroll. And he's saying that this side's worse than the sides he's played in. Is it? It's not. And I don't like the fact he sat there going, oh, we're going to Istanbul, and being all happy, acting like he's some big Liverpool fan on American TV. And then on Monday, if Wolves start turning us over, he'll start slagging us off again.
He's got Rupert Murdoch in his pocket, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, Bill Shankly once said, if you don't support us when we lose, you don't deserve to support us when we win. And given his comments in recent weeks, he doesn't deserve. If we go to Istanbul, I don't want to see him there. Because, I mean, obviously, he's Jamie Carragher, but I don't want to see him there because he's slagged us off all season. If you don't, we've been bad, but every Liverpool fan, although the team's been bad, hasn't sat there hounding the team. The ones who aren't proper fans and weren't around in the Hodgson days. Jamie Carragher played in them Hodgson days. Apparently, he's a Liverpool fan now, but you can sit there and slag the team off on a Saturday, but then when they win a game, you sat there singing, going, oh, we're going to Istanbul. Leg it. I don't care. I'd rather support Everton.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, just pick a side. Don't slag us off on Sky because it suits an agenda for who you're working for. If they're saying, oh, say something controversial, say something against Liverpool, you just tell them to leg it.
We all put in the comparison to Stevie G at the minute, right? Who made up his one up there. Not happy for the team because they're a bunch of Union Jack waving Queen loving fans. However, I'm made up for Stevie. I don't like Rangers. I don't like them. And I think most Liverpool fans are in the same boat. It's not so much as like I've seen a tweet the other day from a United fan saying Liverpool fans only like Celtic because you never walk alone. No, it goes much deeper than that. But I'm made up for Steve. But then Liverpool are playing terribly. And you see an interview we done on ITV the other day and they're talking Liverpool are playing bad. Gerrard's flying. It's easy to say Klopp could go. You're going to come in. And he just dismisses it and goes, Liverpool fans don't want me. You don't understand how much we love Jurgen Klopp. You've got Liverpool's arguably all-time greatest footballer sat there saying, when Liverpool are currently sitting 8th or 9th in the league, playing terrible, saying, Liverpool fans love Klopp and they don't want me. They want Klopp. Yeah. And then you've got his counterpart.
He was speaking as a real Liverpool fan there, wasn't he?
Yeah. Like Gerrard is a Liverpool fan. He was a Liverpool fan from a kid. The club means the world. So when he says that so much, I mean, though he's the Rangers manager, he's always putting stuff on about Liverpool on social media. Always putting on that he's watching the game and stuff. He absolutely
he still says us and we when he talks about Liverpool.
And like he said, he does want to manage one day, but not now. He's not ready yet. And I completely agree with him. And I like his honesty because I think Gerrard needs to go to maybe a Norwich or someone who comes up, or Watford or Brighton or someone in the Premier League and do something with them. Maybe do like what Moyes just getting West Ham into like Champions League places. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Gerrard does that, he can come to Liverpool, but Klopp's here till 2024, whether some fans like it or not. And if people don't want Klopp here, they don't know footy. They just don't know football because Jurgen Klopp is our best manager since Bob Paisley. Easily.
He is. You can't. All these idiots who are, don't get me wrong, Klopp is not above criticism. No one at the club is above criticism. And we were playing rubbish, so rightly or wrongly, in your opinion, whatever, he did deserve a bit of criticism for what was happening. But I would never in a million years want him out. He's the best manager in the world. What do you do if you get rid of him? Who do you bring in? You don't bring Stevie in. He hasn't earned his stripes yet. He's not. He's won one title in the Farmers League. Yeah, all right, well done. But he ain't ready for Liverpool. And you say Jurgen Klopp, again, not above criticism, but you don't get rid of the best manager in the world because of a bit of a poor form.
He's the best manager for Liverpool going forward. I mean, you think back to Paisley. I said this on the last podcast done with Jay and Dean. Bill Shankly was so loyal to players that he had to tell Paisley to tell Ian St. John he weren't in the starting 11 anymore. Shankly then, he had in his last 4 years, the last year he started getting rid of players, and he spent the next 3 years rebuilding Liverpool and left that Liverpool squad to Bob Paisley, who won everything. The most decorated British manager of all time. I can see something similar with Klopp. He knows this squad needs an overhaul. He's probably going to spend the next 3 years of his contract making this squad world class again, winning Premier Leagues, winning Champions Leagues in the process, and then Stevie will come in. I think if Stevie
he's going to leave the next manager with a squad that is ready to go, that is ready to win everything. The way he come in, and he, even the owners have apologised to him, haven't they, for the state of the squad they give him?
Yeah.
He's not going to do that. It's going to be the opposite for him. He's going to leave the club at the top with a world-class squad for whatever manager comes in and takes over.
Speaking of FSG, what's your stance on them? I've seen a lot of people calling for them to be out lately again because of lack of investments, and they're blaming this season on FSG. Not the fact that there's no fans in the ground and our best centre-half, probably the best centre-half to ever play the game of football, is injured. But it's FSG's fault. What's your stance on them?
No, I'm not having that. FSG have backed Klopp all the way. We needed the goalie. They went out and got the at the time the most expensive best goalie in the world. We needed a defender. They went out and got the most expensive defender in the world. If Klopp really wants a player, they back him and they get the player. I don't know what the situation is between Klopp and the owners. Klopp hasn't come out, has he, and said, I want this player, but they've said no.
In the years he's been here, he's always spoke very highly of the owners. The only time he's really went at them a bit is when, over the centre-half issue, do you know, when this transfer window just gone, he sort of had a little bit of a dig, and then after that, they went and bought Kabak and Davis. So,
yeah. You got to take a look at it's people wanting them out have got really, really short memories. Look where we are when they came in and look where we are now.
Yeah, I was saying about this on Transfer the other day, that you look at, they've given us a new main stand, and they're extending the Anfield Road. So that's expanding on the longevity of Liverpool Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
And the roads done. When all the three sides are done, I think it's going to be like a 70,000 seater stadium. So that then allows fans in, people who moan about tickets, they can now come and watch us because there'll be more seats. It extends the longevity because more fans can keep coming in. And if Safe Standard does come in, then it's going to more or less double the capacity. It's like 140,000. So they've done that. They've given us, I think it's the best training complex in world football at the minute. I think, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
It looks phenomenal, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the facilities within it, I think they are one of the best in the world. They named the door after James Milner.
What more do you want?
If you look at, I remember, Steve, when Hicks and Gillette was in, I've seen people scrapping in the ground. Our own fans scrapping. When during that period, people marching on the streets to get rid of them. It was dark days.
That was just such a terrible state of affairs under that one.
Yeah, it was dark days. They've come in, and we're not in debt. We're a self-sustained club. There's other clubs people have spent loads of money in the summer transfer window, yeah. But every single one of them, the detectives on Twitter would go through companies' house like you wouldn't believe, and the amount of clubs that have took out bank loans to buy said players, they need to pay them back. Liverpool are not in debt. We got Kabak and Davis in for 2 million total.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not in debt. They're a self-sustained club. They've given us a gorgeous new stand, and the next 2 stands are probably going to be as good as it. They've given us a brand new training complex. They've given us Van Dijk. They've given us Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
We listen to the fans. When Rodgers was there, everyone was saying they'd love Klopp, they'd love Klopp, they'd love Klopp. And everyone was saying, oh, it might not be realistic because he's on a sabbatical for a year. They went and got us Jurgen Klopp. They did speak to other managers.
I think Jurgen Klopp being available is probably, at the time, the only reason Rodgers lost his job.
Well, when they speaking to Ancelotti as well, didn't they meet him in New York?
I don't know. There was all sorts of silly rumours going around at the time, wasn't it? Because it was at the time we weren't in the best form at the time, where we almost won the league the year. We'd almost won the league the year before, and then we'd had a drop off in form the next year, and people were questioning Rodgers.
Yeah, it's a typical Brendan Rodgers thing, innit? Fall off after.
I don't know what the situation is in any club, but if arguably the best coach in world football becomes available, you've got to get him in. Doesn't matter who you've got there and how you're doing. If he becomes available, you take him.
I mean, I'm not an FSG in by any stretch of the margin, but I'm also not an FSG out. I do agree with some people that FSG Liverpool now are at a point where we do need more investment in order to take that next step to win every year.
Yeah.
But then I can honestly see Liverpool investing massively this summer, because you think the last time Liverpool were noticeably bad was after Kiev with Karius. They went and sorted it. They know Liverpool, the Liverpool team now needs a bit of an overhaul, and I can see them doing it. And you know what? I've said it on the last few podcasts. I genuinely do believe Kylian Mbappe will come to Liverpool. I'm not going to sit and get into it.
You're right.
But I do.
Do you know what? I think any fan of any club in the world would be like, Kylian Mbappe's coming. Happy days. We're going to win the league. Because him, maybe Haaland, them two, if they imagine if they both come to the Premier League, they're the next. I think Haaland and Mbappe, they're the next, going to be the next Messi and Ronaldo competition in world football.
I don't really want Haaland to come to the Premier League because I think he'll end up at City.
I mean, he's such a dangerous player. I mean,
he scored 20 goals in the Champions League in 12 games. He's 19. He's made the Champions League look easy.
He's scary.
Yeah, he's so good. But yeah, I do think they'll invest. And with Mbappe, it's more like, why would Nike let him go and wear a Real Madrid kit, which is Adidas? Real Madrid is skint at the minute as well. And PSG can't demand 200 million for him, because clubs will just say, nah, you're all right. Wait till January and go to a Kylian Mbappe. All right, mate, what you want? And get him for nothing.
Sorry, the phone just went again. Just do me, I don't know. Go say that again.
So yeah, like with Mbappe, Nike aren't going to want him in a Adidas kit. And PSG can't exactly say, oh, we want £200 million for him, because clubs will just go, all right. And then in 6 months' time, clubs can negotiate with him for nothing.
I know. It's a tricky one with all these players being like associated with a brand, isn't it?
Yeah, but Mbappe's rejected 3 contract offers from PSG as well, so he's definitely going.
Yeah,
it's just
I can't see him staying there, full stop. But
I think he's going to want.
We get him, and imagine if we got him and Haaland. Would win everything forever.
I don't think it'd happen, because I think Mbappe's going to want about 400 grand a week.
Yeah, I don't think any club in the world can afford both of them at the minute.
The only way Haaland doesn't go to City is if Messi goes to City, which I can see happening, because then he can go from City to New York and stay within that City football group and become an ambassador, work under Pep, and let Cheeky Bergerstein again. We had a City fan on a few weeks ago, and he basically said like all the reasons why he could come, and it did change my perception a little bit on it. So I do think he'll go there, but I'm not bothered if he does. He's finished. Apart from that goal, did you see it against PSG?
Oh, it was an absolute rocket, wasn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Like, it just flew off his foot. Keeper, because I've had 2 keepers in there.
Is he 34, Messi now?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know his age, but
And he's hitting shots like that.
It's just unstoppable. Like, I don't think it doesn't matter how old you get. Messi will probably be bouncing around at 65 years old and still be able to ping them in like that. You don't lose that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more Ronaldo. I'm Messi for technical ability and how he plays the game, but Ronaldo can do it on his own. We've seen it with Portugal. Messi hasn't really done it in Argentina. So people compare Messi to Maradona, but I'd say Maradona's a better player because he managed to get the World Cup for Argentina. Messi hasn't.
Maradona, just again, but one of the arguably the best player I've ever seen kick a football. Maradona. There's a lot of hate for him from like my dad's generation.
I love him. I think funny. I think he's a legend.
Just an unbelievable footballer.
He'd love it in the Liverpool. Big Diego, I'm telling you. But anyway, moving on to the Wolves game. Liverpool in the last 5 away games have won 3 and lost 2. In that time, we've scored 8 goals. Mo Salah's the top away goal scorer with 10 goals. Can you see a win?
Yeah. I think now that, assuming we can keep them 3, the 2 defenders and Fabinho there, I don't see us having an issue for the rest of the season now. But I said this before, every time we win one game, we all get excited, don't we? And think, it's all back to our best again. I don't think we'll be at our best, but I think assuming that defence and Fabinho stays there, I think we'll squeeze through that game with a win.
Can you not see a Jota hat-trick now? Wolves team come and show them why they shouldn't have let him go.
Do you reckon he'll play Jota?
Yeah, international break after this, isn't it?
Yeah, so it gives him a good rest, and they'll have had to go 5 days, won't they?
We need
to see a Jota hat-trick. I'm not going to lie, I would love to see a Jota hat-trick.
Yeah,
in any game.
We do.
I just can't. I can't imagine him having that good of a game against Wolves. I don't know. I reckon he might bag one. Hat-trick might be a little bit optimistic. Is this another one of your 4-0 wins? Is it this week?
I've been going 7 lately, Steve. Jimenez isn't back yet, is he?
No, I think he's barely back in training, isn't he?
Yeah, just recently. So I'm confident with Wolves. I think the international break's coming at the perfect time for Liverpool. We need it. We need a break. Klopp's not letting any of them go into duty. That's like a week or 2 weeks of just focusing on tactics. Business end of the season now is more important than ever. Do I think we'll get top 4? No. Do I think we're going to go on a win and run? Yeah. Starting with the Leipzig game, I think we beat Wolves on Monday night. Because Liverpool are notoriously quite good on Monday Night Football, aren't they? I think. I'm sure we are.
Let's make it. Let's just say yeah, and we'll start it this Monday. And
the Tottenham game was on a Monday, wasn't it?
No idea.
Teams that come and attack Liverpool were better against, and Wolves aren't going to come and sit back. Yet they play 5 at the back with the attack, and Fabio Silva will be decent in a few years, but he's not decent now. The biggest threat for Wolves is Neto. Even Adama Traore, in fact, I forgot about that. Last season, Adama Traore has kept quiet because Van Dijk matched him for pace.
Yeah.
Now, Kabak and Phillips against Adama Traore doesn't fill me with the utmost confidence.
No, I know. I think he normally plays Adama out wide, doesn't he?
Yeah, so it'd be against.
It's normally like his right wing, left wing, whatever. Can you see the Spirito Santo playing him down the middle and targeting our inexperienced defenders?
I think he'd be stupid if he didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'd do for sure. That's what I'd do with a player like that. He's you know, he's got a game in him where he can be a world beater, but he's also got games in him where he's kept quiet and you don't even know he's playing. He'd frustrate me, to be honest, if I was his manager or if I was a fan of what a team he was playing in, because you can see he's capable of so much.
Yeah, I think if he worked under someone like Klopp, he'd be a different animal. I think, although as much as I think Nuno's one of the best managers in the league, I think he needs a world-class manager to take him to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. You need a manager who's happy to, what was it? Was it baby oil he was throwing all over his arms in one of the games so that the defenders couldn't get a grip of him? That was brilliant.
He's so fast, isn't he? But yeah, what do you reckon your starting 11 is then, the score prediction?
It's probably going to be fairly similar to the Leipzig game. Do you know what? I would probably stick with that 11. I couldn't, maybe I'd drop Gini out for Curtis Jones, maybe, but I think even that'd be a bit harsh on Gini. I don't see a change in that first 11.
What your score prediction?
1-0. I think it'll be a pretty drab game, to be honest with you, and I'd be happy to scrape through with a 1-0. It'll be another goal, it'll be another win, bit of momentum. I'd be happy with that.
I'm with you in the sense of I'd love Jones to play, because I think it's harsh on him because he's been our best player in recent weeks.
Yeah.
But then Wijnaldum's the club captain at the minute.
Yeah, if you haven't got Henderson, you haven't got Milner.
Yeah, so he needs to...
You haven't got Van Dijk.
Still sad. I don't know, maybe Thiago as a rest, because I think he might go off to Spain, because their protocol's a bit different with COVID. I'd go as far as maybe saying for changing Kabak for Davis to add that little bit more pace. Davis is a little bit faster than Kabak, and we don't really need Kabak's aerial ability when you've got Nat Phillips.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So potentially that could happen. Give Davis a run out. But if I just beginning to think that Davies was bought profit. He's meant to be worth 10 million. We got him for 1.5 million because his contract was nearly up. I think we'll sell him in the summer for like 10 million to a team that comes up.
Yeah. He showed no sign of even wanting Davis anywhere near the pitch yet, has he? No,
not one. And they feel cruel on him. Like he was playing week in, week out for Preston, bossing it, and then he comes and doesn't get played. But yeah, I can see a similar lineup. Probably the same lineup, to be honest, because I don't think Bobby gets back in the team. Jota has looked sharp, like really sharp.
He did miss a couple of chances, didn't he, against Leipzig? But he was getting in positions. He won the header after that chance, got tipped over. The one he took it on his left foot and it went wide again. He was in the right place, but just couldn't finish it. I think he's got a goal coming.
Definitely. I'm going to say 4-0.
4-0 Curtis Jones screamer by any chance?
If he plays, yeah. I reckon Mane's going to get 2 and Jota's going to get 2. Because I can see us maybe playing a similar system to what we played in recent weeks where Salah hasn't been the most advanced attacker. He's been a bit more of a right wing back.
Yeah.
And matching them on the pitch. I think we target Connor Cody. As good as he is in a back five, I think he's like a Dejan Lovren with a mistake in him.
Yeah.
And I think without Jimenez, Wolves, we've seen them fall off the season. I think where Liverpool rely massively on Van Dijk, I think Wolves rely massively on Jimenez. So I'm quite confident.
They have had a huge drop off. I tipped them to be a surprise this season. I just didn't realise it was going to be a shocking surprise.
I know. I tipped Everton, and I'm gutted that it's come true, to be honest. But didn't expect Everton to be above Liverpool. But there's a few good games this weekend, to be honest with you. So I think Liverpool need to win. Like when you look at a few of the games that are happening in and around us, especially, I mean, Newcastle playing Villa today. Obviously, Villa's probably going to win that. But you've got Leeds playing Chelsea at Leeds' ground. I can see Leeds maybe getting some points there.
Mm-hmm.
Everton are playing Burnley at home. Now we know Burnley love coming and beating people on Merseyside now, don't we?
Yep.
I could see maybe Burnley getting a draw out of that. And then you've got Arsenal playing Spurs, which is a big game, and then United playing West Ham. I'm now in the position of wanting Manchester United to win West Ham because I don't think we catch United, but I think we can catch West Ham.
Yeah. I think anyone in that top 4, to be honest with you, I think pretty much out of reach. West Ham 5th now, are they?
5th on 48, but if United beat them, Liverpool win against Wolves, we go 2 points behind West Ham. Yeah, they have a game in hand, but I'm sure their game in hand against someone like Chelsea or City or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, catching United's not even not doable because they're only on 54 points, but that's like 9 points ahead of Liverpool now. No, 11 points ahead of Liverpool, sorry. So and with the Arsenal game, we need to win, and we need Arsenal to beat Spurs ideally because Spurs are 2 points above us with a game in hand, and we could do with Everton dropping points to Burnley because if Everton drop points to Burnley, we go above Everton. So
we need a lot of things to go our way, don't we? But on top of that, we also need to do the business ourselves.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating thing because Everton's went Liverpool's way in recent weeks, and we haven't done this. That Fulham game, Everton went our way that weekend. Everton, we could have. And Liverpool.
We looked at it. We looked at the run of fixtures, didn't we, a while back, saying they're all winnable games.
We've only really got United now out of the big teams. But I would prefer in this season. I prefer a run-in of all the big teams now, to be honest, because we've been all right with them. Crap against the lower teams. So I'm classing Wolves as a big team, and I'm thinking a 4-1 win. Maybe I'd take 3-1 because that's we done Tottenham and West Ham 3-1, so I'd take that as well. To be honest, I'd just take a win. To be honest with you, Steve.
I'll take a scrappy 1-0 win and move on.
I mean, we've seen us score a goal for the first time in weeks, so a win's doable, isn't it?
I reckon so, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Hopefully one of us are right. 1-0 or 4-0 doesn't really matter. 3 points is what matters at the end of the day. But
well, I called the Leipzig result, didn't I, on Twitter?
Yeah. I see.
But I didn't put my money where my mouth is, so I think I've had me luck for the rest of the season. So I don't think I'll get another one right now.
I never know. Hopefully, I'd take you not being right as long as I'm right. If we're both wrong. Yeah, thanks for coming on. If you watched on YouTube, don't forget to leave a like, rate, and subscribe, and a comment. You may think it means nothing, but it helps the podcast go a long way in the YouTube algorithm. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple and stuff, make sure you follow it. Smash them on Spotify and I'll put them in it. A nice one to all the fans across the world. They've got a big fan base in America, so nice one for that. Massively appreciate it. We've been Redscast. Thanks one for listening.